All right, shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Brother Yosef. I want to come back to you with another numbers video today. This time going in on the number 5. All right, now there have been quite a few individuals out there that see this number on a continual basis, whether it's just the number 5, or if it's 55, or if it's 555. Some of you see it on your alarm clocks. Some of you see it on billboards, license plates, dreams and vision signs. I just got a request just some days ago to do about the number 5, and I thought that it would be time to go into it. So I want to be able to share with you the meaning of this number. Okay, now when you search for this number online, what people are going to tell you is that it stands for grace. All right, and throughout my time of laboring in the scriptures and trying to get more understanding from the Most High, I don't really see that as being just the only meaning. I barely see that as a meaning at all. All right, so I want to be able to share with you scripturally the words and meanings associated with the number 5, so that if you keep on seeing this number in your dreams, your visions, you keep turning the scriptures and you keep going to chapter 5 verse 55 or whatever it may be, then you may have a better understanding moving forward. All right, so I want to go ahead and start it off with Genesis chapter 1. All right, start things off on the 5th day, and I'm gonna throw some key words out there to you. All right, Genesis chapter 1 and verse 20. It said, and Yah said, or the Most High said, let the waters bring forth abundantly. All right, the moving creatures that have life, and fowl that may fly above the earth, and in the opening firmament of the heaven. And Elohim created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. Now, I kind of went a little bit too ahead of myself. I'm kind of excited right now just to be able to share this information with you. So I'm going to go ahead and go over some of the word definitions or the meanings that's associated with the number 5. Number 1 is abundance. All right, abundance. I know some people, they're going to be glad they're seeing 5s now. They're like, man, okay, my man, something good about to happen. All right, now, like I talked about in other definitions, all right, words have different meanings and numbers have different meanings. All right, so just because something may keep popping up and you take the first meaning don't necessarily mean it's the right one. All right, but abundance could be, all right, associated with what the Most High is trying to show you. Multiplication is associated with the number 5. Increase, we talked about abundance, but increase is associated with the number 5. And I'm trying to think back on the number videos that I've done up to this point. I don't know if I've seen any number that has 1, 2, 3 different things that has to deal with something growing, just like that. But it also has to deal with division. So number 5 deals with multiplication, and number 5 deals with division. And it's another number that's just like number 5 that deals with multiplication and division, and that's the number 2. All right, so if you go back to the number 2 video, you can watch that. You'll be able to see. Number 5 has to deal with preparation. Number 5 has to be dealing with a penalty. There's a penalty attached, all right, to the number 5. Judgment, all right. I put penalty / judgment. Hope y'all can see this one better. I know on the number 11 video, I didn't write my words bigger, and that was just kind of messed up. And revelation. All right, so if the Most High is keep showing you these 555s over and over again, he is more than likely trying to reveal something to you that's very, very, very important. All right, so let's go back to the scriptures though, because I talked about abundance. So let's go to Genesis chapter 1 and 20 again. This is on the 5th day. All right, it said, Elohim said, let the waters bring forth abundantly. All right, let the waters bring forth abundantly. The moving creature that have life, and the fowl that may fly above the earth, in the open firmament of the heaven, or the Shamayim. And Elohim created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind, and Elohim saw that it was good. Verse 22, and Elohim, or the Most High, baraked or blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply. On the 5th day, we have the multiplication taking place. Be fruitful and multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the 5th day. All right. So now we talked about two things, two words that's associated with this number 5, and that is abundance. Let the waters bring forth abundantly, and be fruitful and multiply. All this is in the 5th day. All right. So we'll be able to get a better understanding of this as we go by. So now let's go with this definition of multiplication, multiplying. All right. So let's go to Mark chapter 6. Mark chapter 6, and we're going to go to Mark chapter 6, and we're going to go to verse number 37. It said, and he answered them and said unto them, give ye them to eat. And they said unto him, shall we go and buy 200 pennyworth of bread and give them to eat? He said unto him, how many loaves do you have? This is Yahusha speaking, all right? The Messiah. He said, how many loaves do you have? Go and see. And when they knew, they said 5 and 2 fishes. Now, remember I told you the two numbers that are symbolic with each other, number 5 and number 2, they both had to deal with multiplication and division. The multiplication and division really takes place at the number 2, all right, and 5. So right here, he says, and when they knew, they said 5 and 2 fishes. Number 39, he commanded them to sit all down by companies upon the green grass. And they sat down in ranks by hundreds and by 50s, all right? Groups of 50s. That's another, thing that's divisible by the number 5. Number 41. And he said, and when he had taken the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, he looked up to heaven and baraked and brake the loaves and gave them to his disciples to set before them. And the 2 fishes divided. The 2 fishes he divided, he among them all. So remember I had to tell you about the number 2 having to be with division, but the 5 and the 2, okay, of course, was a part of the multiplication. And when you go to 42, and they did eat, and they were all filled, they took up the 12 baskets full of fragments and of the fishes, and they that did eat the loaves were about 5,000. So this is what I'm talking about when we talk about the multiplication process. The Most High, or the representation of the Most High, Yahushua Mashiach, takes 5 fishes, all right, 5 loaves of bread, lakam, and multiplies it until 5,000. All right, 5 gets multiplied into 5,000. So this number 5 has to deal with multiplication. All right, it has to deal with abundance. So I want to go into something else about the increase now. We talked about increase. All right, so on the 5th day, he said, be fruitful and multiply. We see multiplication taking place in the situation of the Messiah. All right, so now let's go to Numbers chapter 19. Let's get another definition. This next definition we're going to go over is increase. All right, Numbers chapter 19, and we're going to go to verse number 23. It said, when you shall come into the land and shall have planted all manner of trees for food, then you shall count the fruit thereof as uncircumcised. 3 years shall it be uncircumcised unto you, it shall not be eaten of. But in the 4th year, all the fruit thereof shall be holy or kodesh, to praise Yah therewith. And I forgot to throw that into my number 4 lesson. It came to me after I was done. I was supposed to throw this into the 4 lesson. For those of you that looked at the 4 lesson, all right, in the 4th year, all the fruit thereof should be holy or kadesh. So that number 4, I know it has some different definitions, and some of them were not so pleasing in the number 4 video, but one of them is kodesh, or holy, or set apart. All right, now I forgot to throw that in there. All right, so number 25 though, it said, in the 5th year shall you eat the fruit thereof, that it may yield unto you the increase thereof. He is the Most High, your Elohim. All right, so it said, in the 5th year you shall eat the fruit, that it may yield the increase. All right, the number 5, the fifth has to deal with increase. Let's continue though. So now let's go to Genesis chapter 41. Let's continue to prove that the number 5 has to deal with increase. All right, let's go to Genesis chapter 31, and we're going to start at verse number 32. All right, and it says, and for the dream that was doubled unto Pharaoh twice, it is because the thing that is established by Elohim, and Elohim will shortly bring it to pass. The dream was doubled twice. All right, the number 2 is connected. They got some similar definitions with 5, but this also goes back to Job chapter 33 and verse 14, where it said the Most High speaks once, he speaks twice, in a dream, in a vision, in deep sleep, when men rest upon a bed. Then he seals the sun, he opens their understanding and seals them with the instructions. But right here it says, in the dream that Pharaoh dreamed twice, it is because the thing is established by the Most High. So that's why, before I continue to go any further, when you dream dreams twice, all right, the Most High is trying to get your attention. If you see a number twice, sometimes it's confusing because we might see 55, all right, but it could be the Most High showing us 5 2 different times. But if he shows it to you 3 times, like 555, all right, it's not a bunch of 555 scriptures. So we gotta continue to break that number down a little bit more to get a better understanding of what it's talking about. It could be the number 5 magnified, all right? But let me get back to my train of thought. So we talk about the increase. Increase, number 5. So he showed Pharaoh the dream twice, number 33. Therefore, let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise and set him over the land of Egypt. Number 34. And let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the fifth part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years, and let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let him keep the food in the cities, and the food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine. The key part is on verse number 35. All right, number 34 said, let Pharaoh do this, let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the fifth part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years. So the fifth part that was taken up by Yosef, all right, it was to build up the produce of Egypt for the 7 lean years. But him taking up that fifth part, it yielded increase to the Mitzrites, to the Egyptians. All right, the fifth part has to deal with increase. Number 5, fifth, or that number 5, like I told you, is associated with the number 2. All right, it's associated with the number 20 because the fifth part is what some people would say 20%. All right, so take the fifth part, the fifth, and put it to the side for the famine. Let's continue though. So Matthew chapter 25. Let's go into this a little bit deeper. Matthew chapter 25, and continue to go into this increase. Matthew chapter 25, and we're going to go to verse number 14. It said, for the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And the one he gave 5 talents, to another 2. You see this relationship between 5 and 2, 5 and 2, 5 and 2. All right. One he gave 5 talents, the other he gave 2, and another he gave 1. To every man according to his several abilities, and straightway he took his journey. All right. Then he that received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them 5 other talents. What did he do? What did the man do with his 5 talents? He multiplied them. Multiplied. The number 5 is associated with multiplication. All right. He multiplied them times 2. He doubled them and turned them into how many? 10 talents. All right. What did the person with 2 talents do? I told you the number 5 and the 2 are connected in some kind of way. The number 2, he multiplied his and turned the 2 talents into 4. All right. Then he that received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made the other 5 talents. And likewise, he that received 2, he also gained another 2. Symbolizing increase and multiplication. You see that right there? Increase and multiplication. So the number 5 is dealing with increase, it's dealing with multiplication. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 47. Go to Genesis chapter 47. All right, dealing with this increase. Genesis chapter 47, and we're going to go to verse number 24. It said, and it shall come to pass in the increase that you shall give the 5th part. Now pay attention to how it starts out with 24. It shall come to pass in the increase that you shall give the 5th part unto Pharaoh, and 4 parts shall you be for your own, and for a seed for the field, and for your food, and for them of your households, and for food for your little ones. Also, this might be a great practice for us to practice today. I know this was in the lands of Egypt, but maybe we could pull some wisdom off of this. All right, I know there are different savings plans that we follow. You know, some people, they do the 10, 10, 10, 10, 70, where you save 10%, you put 10% to the side for charities or for the work of the Most High, and you invest the other 10%. But right here, Joseph gave them a strategy, which we rather see was implemented as a law, that Pharaoh gets 20% or the 5th part, and you live off the 80. All right. But that's just something to think about for those of you that's kind of behind and maybe you don't have nothing stored up right now, and you want to think of a plan to be able to help you accumulate some goods real quick. You know, take 20% of what you're making and start putting it towards preparation. The number 5 is dealing with preparation as well. All right, because that's what the 5th part was. It was for them to prepare. The increase from the 5th part helped the Egyptians prepare for the lean years. So you see all the correlations right here, the increase, the 5th part, and preparation. Now, all right, so I'm going to start with 24 again. It shall come to pass in the increase that you shall give the 5th part unto Pharaoh, and 4 parts shall be of your own for seed of the field, and for food, and for them of your households, and for food for your little ones. 25. And they said, thou hast saved our lives. Let us find grace or favor in the sight of our master. That's the word right there where they say the number 5 deals with grace, but I ain't gonna get too deep into that one. Let us find grace in the sight of thy master, and we will be Pharaoh's servant. 26. And Joseph made it a law over the land of Egypt until this day that Pharaoh shall have the 5th part, except the land of the priests only, which became not of Pharaoh. So even Joseph, the priest did not have to pay the 5th part. And we know that in Israel, all right, the Levites did not have to pay the 10%, but the other tribes had to support the Levites. All right, so it's just kind of interesting how the priests didn't have to pay it in the Egyptian times. All right, so the 5th part has to deal with increase. It has to deal with preparation. So whether you want to say the 5th or the 5, or whether you want to say 20%, which is linked to 5, all right, they have to do with increase and preparation. Let's continue though. Now let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 17. All right, 1 Samuel chapter 17. This has been one of the most, debatable topics in Scripture right here. All right, but why did this happen? Why did this happen? All right, 1 Samuel chapter 17, and we're going to go to verse 38. And Saul armed David with his armor, and he put on a helmet of brass upon his head, and he armed his coat with a coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. That number 5 actually, I believe, is dealing with proving something too, and I can get to that maybe at the end if I remember to go to that. And David put them off of him. Verse number 40. And he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in the shepherd's bag which he had, even in a scrip, and his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. He took 5 smooth stones. All right. So some individuals, you'll see people online, they're trying to say, well, those 5 smooth stones, they symbolize grace. They symbolize favor, right? They symbolize a miracle, right? And now the miraculous thing right there, okay, you can see some validity in the miracle aspect, but I didn't put miracle associated with 5, all right? All right, so in this situation now, you see Dawid takes 5 smooth stones, and he only needed 1. But what was the other 4 for? He was prepared. You see this right here? The number 5 has to deal with preparation. So he was prepared to use the other 4 if he had to, but it only took 1 stone. All right, and we know that the Most High Yah is the rock. But we know that we also have a stone, a chief stone, a cornerstone, whom the builders rejected. And that stone came. And we see that that stone hits that image that even in the book of Daniel, that stone is cut out and it hits the image. All right, this big old great giant image has to fall just like this great big giant Goliath had to fall. And the image is going to fall, all right, in the future. All right, so by him being prepared with 5 smooth stones, it only took 1, because 1, if you go back to the 1 lesson, the Most High Yah symbolizes 1. And that's all he needed, but he was prepared. So don't take nothing away from Dawid. Some people want to say, well, all you needed was 1. If you truly had that faith, if you truly had that belief, that you just would have slung that 1 of them and hit him. All right, he was prepared, and the Most High wants you and I to be prepared as well. So if the Most High keeps showing you this number 5, he may be getting you ready to go on a journey of preparation. All right, prepare. All right, so the Most High knocked down Goliath. The Most High is the one that knocked him down. All right, not that little bitty stone, not that stone. All right, the Most High used that stone, but it was the Most High that gets the esteem, and because the Most High got the esteem, the Most High gets the increase, he gets the increase, all right? Like they say in the scripture, 1 water, 1 plant, but the Most High gets the increase. The Most High got the increase from David doing that. Dawid did that. And also the children of Israel, they got increased because now they was able to go in there and defeat the Philistines, and that gave Israel the increase, all right? So let's continue. Now, let's go to another definition of this number 5 is division, or something being divided. Now, I already told you about number 5 and number 2 having a close link to each other. So let's go into some division. Luke chapter 12. Luke chapter 12. And I want to throw this out there for you. I don't claim to have all the answers. Some of you are very intelligent and gifted. And, you know, the Most High is showing you things. So if you ever come across anything in this number 5 video or any other past or previous videos that you feel that can enlighten me, share it. Send me an email, share the wealth with me, because I'm about to be compiling this and putting it in a book form as well to be able to share with my brothers and sisters. But so anything that you can help feed that and make it even better, you know, send it my way, all right? So let's get into this division. Let's go to the book of Luke. The book of Luke, chapter 12, and we're going to go to verse number 52. All right, it says, from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided. You see that? As the Messiah is giving this parable, he said that there are going to be 5 in one house and divided. They're going to be divided from one another. All right, 3 against the 2 and 2 against the 3. The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father, the mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother-in-law, the mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Isn't that the truth today? You come into this knowledge, you come into this truth. It might be 5 of y'all into one in the house, but I guarantee you, out of that house of 5, there's going to be some division. I guarantee you. And it's very rare that you have all 5 of them on one accord. All right, so I'm not saying this has to be the case all the time. And if you have a family of 5 and you all are not divided, hallelujah, all praise to the Most High that he's keeping you all together. All right, but the number 5 has to deal with division. All right, now also let's go into another thing about division. The Torah, High Torah, the first 5 books of the scriptures, all right, is divided. All right, and so the Torah is divided into 5 books. All right, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. 5 books divided. Also, we have 5 different types of sin offerings in the scriptures. So the offerings that are even sacrificed unto the Most High are divided into 5. All right, you got the sin offering, the trespass offering, the peace offering, the meat offering, and the burnt offering. All right, 5 different type of offerings, 5 books that are classified as the Torah. That's that Torah. We also know that there's the Torah of wisdom. All right, and which are 4 books. But divided into 5, we got the offerings. So let's continue though. So now I want to go on to my next train of thought here because there's so much more to cover, and I want to make sure that I'm not losing out on anything. All right, so Matthew chapter 25. Let me go there. Matthew chapter 25, 2:5. All right, Matthew chapter 25, verse 1. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were wise, 5 of them were foolish. So these 10 virgins were divided into groups of 5. All right, 5 wise, 5 foolish. All right, they that were foolish took their lamps, and they took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. I don't have oil up here, but I should have had oil on there because that deals with preparation as well. Making sure that you're prepared and that you have oil in your lamps. Make sure that you are staying prepared on a continual basis. All right, 5 of them was ready to go. 5 of them was not. How many of us today are ready? If he came back today, that we will have our oil with our lamps. All right. So the 5, it has to deal with preparation, division. All right. The number 10 was divided into 2 different categories of 5, and it was dealing with preparation. All right. Preparation, oil, and that also leads back to this preparation story of the 5 wise virgins and the 5 foolish. It can also go back to what I was telling you earlier about Yosef, and and making sure that they were prepared, they were ready. All right, when it was time for the land, for the drought to come, Yosef and the Egyptians, they were ready to roll. Everybody else had to come to them because they were not prepared. All right, so the number 5 has to deal with preparation. All right, so let's continue now. Let's deal with another definition of number 5 is penalty or / judgment. All right, so let's go to Leviticus chapter 5. We talked about the 5th part can be used for the increase, but the 5th part can also be used as a penalty. All right, that one must pay. So let's go to Leviticus chapter 5 and verse number 14. All right, it says, "And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, if a soul commit a trespass and sin through ignorance," I probably should have had trespass up here too. All right, but if a soul commits a trespass and sin through ignorance in the set apart things of Yah, then he shall bring his trespass unto the Most High, a ram without blemish out of the flocks with the estimation by shekel of silver, after the shekel of the sanctuary, for a trespass offering. A trespass offering, and he shall make amends for the harm that he hath done in the set apart a holy thing, and shall add the 5th part thereto, and give it unto the priest, and the priest shall make an atonement for him with the ram of the trespass offering, it shall be forgiven. So when a person trespassed, they had to add the 5th part, but that was a penalty. Extra payment for wickedness, extra payment for trespassing. All right, the 5th part was added onto it. All right, so we talked about the 5th part for increase, 5th part for a penalty or a judgment. Let's continue though. Leviticus chapter 6, next chapter. Leviticus chapter 6 and verse 2. "If a soul sin and commit a trespass against the Most High, and lie unto his neighbor in that which was delivered him to keep, or a fellowship, or in a thing taken away by violence, or has deceived his neighbor, or have found that which was lost, and lieth concerning it, and swear falsely, and any of all these things that a man doeth, sinneth therein, then it shall be, because he hath sinned and is guilty, that he shall restore that which he took violently of the thing which he hath deceitfully gotten, or that was delivered on him to him to keep, or the lost thing which was found, or that which he has sworn falsely. He shall even restore it in the principal, and shall add the 5th part more unto. and give it unto him to whom it pertaineth in the day of the trespass offering. All right, so he shall restore it to the principal, and he shall add the fifth part as a penalty. Judgment. That's the judgment right there. So the number five can be dealing with a penalty. The number five can be dealing with an increase. It's a whole lot more. So I'm gonna go back to the First Kings. There's so many about the penalty offering. So I don't want to keep beating you down with the penalty. But number five has to deal with penalty. First Kings chapter. Matter of fact, let me go to Second Chronicles first. Second Chronicles chapter 12. We're going to get into this penalty / judgment definition. We're going to keep beating this down. Second Chronicles chapter 12 and verse number 1. It said, and it came to pass, when Rehoboam had established the kingdom and had strengthened for himself, he forsook the law of Yah and all Israel with him. So Rehoboam got built up, got strengthened, and did what a lot of our ancestors did in the past. They forsook the laws of the Most High. Number two, and it came to pass in the fifth year of King Rehoboam, Shishak, king of Egypt, came up against Jerusalem because they transgressed against the Most High. So the Most High waited until the fifth year to bring up the king of Egypt. The Most High was in control of all this, but he waited until the fifth year to penalize or judge, Rehoboam and Israel. So the number five has to deal with judgment or a penalty. All right, he waited to the fifth year to do it. Now let's continue. 1 Kings chapter 14. 1 Kings chapter 14, and we're going to go to verse number 25. All right. 1 Kings 14 and verse number 25, it said, and it came to pass in the fifth year, it's just going back off of it as well, this is another account of the same thing. In the fifth year, King Rehoboam, the Shishak, king of Egypt, came up into Jerusalem. All right, but in 26, it said, he took away the treasures of the house of Yah and the treasures of the king's house. He took away all, and he took away all the shields of gold which Solomon had made. It happened in the fifth year, and judgment came. A penalty was dished out, and a judgment was served. All right. So let's go to Exodus chapter 22. Let's go to the Torah. All right. Exodus chapter 22 and verse number 1. If a man steal an ox or a sheep and kill it or sell it, he shall restore 5 oxen for an ox, or 4 sheep for a sheep. So if a person steals an ox from you, all right, he kills it or he steals it, he has to give you 5 more oxes back. All right, multiplication. That because of that one ox that he stole from you, that has to be multiplied times 5, and he has to give you 5 oxes back. All right, dealing with the number multiplication. All right, but it's actually a judgment. It's a penalty that he has to pay. All right, penalty. All right, multiplication and a penalty. So let's continue. So now let's talk about this definition right here called revelation. Number 5 has to deal with a revelation. Sometimes people are seeing 555. They're waking up at 5:55 in the morning, or they're seeing the number 55, or they're seeing 5 all the time. All right, think about this word that I'm about to go over called revelation. All right, so let's go to Ezekiel. Let's go to Ezekiel. Let me see what chapter I'm looking here. Ezekiel chapter. Bear with me for a second. I think I'm looking for 11, but give me a second here. Make sure I'm on the right one. All right, Ezekiel chapter 11. Matter of fact, it's Ezekiel chapter 1. Sleek off of that one. Ezekiel chapter 1 and verse number 1. It says, now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives by the river of Kebar, that the heavens were open, and I saw visions of Elohim. Verse number 2, in the 5th day of the month, which was the 5th year of King Jehoiakim's captivity, the word of Yah came expressly unto Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Kebar, and the hand of Yah was there upon him. But the Most High waited until the 5th day and the 5th year of King Jehoiakim's captivity, then the Most High revealed something to Ezekiel. The 5th day and the 5th year, revelation came to be. All right, that's when he revealed to Ezekiel about, and then let's go to Ezekiel chapter 8 real quick. Let's go to something else again. Ezekiel chapter 8, and let's go to verse number 1. And it came to pass in the 6th year, in the 6th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I sat in my house, at the elders of Judah sat beside me, that the hand of Yah fell there upon me. And in verse number 2, then I beheld, and lo, the likeness of an appearance of fire, from the appearance of his loins even downward, fire as his loins even upward, as the appearance of the brightness of the color of amber. And he put forth the form of a hand, and took me by the lock of my head, and the Spirit lifted me up between earth and heaven, and brought me in visions. Remember this? Visions, revelations. All right. He took him on the 5th day. He grabbed him by the lock of his hair. He took him up in visions to the Most High of Jerusalem, to the door of the inner court that looked towards the north, where was the seat of the image of jealousy, which provoketh to jealousy. Then, as you can see, as he takes him up by the lock of his hair, he takes him and showing all these amazing things, but he also takes him and shows him the elders of Israel and how they were sun worshipers. The Most High had to reveal to Ezekiel, Yehezkiel, who his true elders were. They were some sun worshipers. But he did it on the 5th day of the month. He revealed this information to him. So the number 5 is associated with a revelation. So if you keep seeing 5, 5, 5, 5, the Most High may be getting ready to reveal something to you. And my advice for you is to fast. All right? Pick a day out of the week and fast. All right? You want to probably fast as soon as possible. But if you keep seeing this number 5, more likely, if you can't pick a day, all right, choose the first day. If you don't like the first day of the week, choose the 5th day of the week and go on a fast on the 5th day, so that you can get an understanding of this number 5, because the Most High might be getting ready to reveal something to you that could change the rest of your life. Let's continue though. So now we talked about that. I want to go to Ezekiel chapter 33. Ezekiel chapter 33 and verse number 21. And it came to pass in the 12th year of our captivity, in the 10th month, in the 5th day of the month, that one of them that escaped of Jerusalem came unto me, saying, the city is smitten. One of the captives escaped and told Ezekiel that the city is smitten. Somebody had to escape to be able to come and tell him. Somebody had to escape to come and reveal this information to Ezekiel. All right, so let's go ahead and close this out with Revelation chapter 6. Revelation chapter 6. Prayerfully, this study will be able to answer some questions that you've been having maybe for years now. Revelation chapter 6 and verse 9. And when he had opened the 5th seal, I saw under the altar all the souls of them which were slain for the word of Elohim and for the testimony which they had. So as this messenger, as the fifth seal was opened, it was revealed, revelation, it was revealed to John the souls of them that were laying up under the altar, that were slain for the word of the Most High. The revelation came after the 5th seal were opened. Now, it was already revelations that was happening before that, so I don't want to make it seem like it was no revelations until this time. But the revelations of the individuals that were slain for the word of Yah, that happened after the 5th seal was opened. Revelation took place. All right, so dealing with this number 5 right here, as you can see, all right, if you look up those videos, they might be telling you about some type of angel numbers, and they might be telling you what this number 5 means. More than likely, it's not going to have these definitions that I shared with you right here. And some people might say it just means grace. All right, I'm still trying to figure out where they got that from. All right, but if you see in this number 5, you have all these as witnesses to go through. If you're seeing the number 55, all right? If you're seeing this number 55 right here, you got a couple different options. All right, you got 5 plus 5, that'll give you 10. All right, and the number 10, as you see that I'm about to be doing that lesson here in the next few weeks, probably in 5 more weeks. All right, when you see that number 10, it has to deal with something being proved. I talked about that number 5 earlier. I said I was gonna get to that at the end, but 5 has a link to that being divided by 10. All right, the number 10 has to deal with a proving or a trial, and it has to deal with order too. Those are just some of the definitions of 10. I ain't gonna get all into my 10 lesson right now, but the number 10 has to deal with something being proven or tried. All right, if you take that 0 away, you're dealing with the Most High. You're just dealing with number 1, or you could be dealing with this. All right, you got 5. You keep seeing 5, 5 all the time. That could be dealing with 5 times 5. And what is that 5 times 5 gonna get you? All right, it's gonna get you 25. Now that 25, Most High, we talked about in the scriptures, in the book of Genesis. Let me go to here real quick, and I'm gonna go to Job first. All right, because I want to prove everything as much as possible with scripture. Job chapter 33 and verse 14, and the Most High speaks once, yet twice, yet man perceives it not. In a dream, in a vision, in the night,